ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me. Oh, call an ambulance! Call an ambulance!
Happy National Pete Rose Day, guys. How you all feeling? Happy National Pete Rose Day, friend. How you all feeling?
That's interesting.
Happy National. Do I have a kickback coming in? All right, let me figure out where that's coming from. But yeah, fellas. So we've made it. We've made it to the finish line, where we don't have to make up content anymore. We are now.
We can still do the Chicago Bears Stadium update.
That's definitely making up content.
It's the House passed the bill. Now it went over to the Senate, and the Senate's saying, "Whoa. Oh, yeah, no, we increased the taxes
making
for
up
40
content.
years. Are you crazy?"
One house of the chamber did their job. The other half has to debate it and do the other stuff like that. I.e., nothing has happened yet. So we've made it. Like I said, we've made it to the fun part of the off season, post draft. Now we've got some stuff to talk about, some actual football news to talk about. Welcome everybody watching. Chris Vikings 30 checking in. Tim Lyons as always. Yo. So should we start? Should we just get everything out the way and start with the team that's going to be in the basement this year? Let's go ahead and grade their draft. How do you all say about that?
Well, they started off with 7 picks and ended up with 6. Why? Because they traded up their 7s into the 6 to pick a kicker.
That's correct. Well, Dave, you're bearing the lead, Dave. You're bearing the lead. But if anybody doesn't know, yes, the team that's going to be in the basement of the 2026 NFC North is going to be those Packers. They are their draft. I can get the screen to pull up on them real fast. That's not working right. But in fact, let's do it this way. Let's see if it works this way. In any case, no, that's the Bears.
That's yours.
Here's the Packers. We're not going to start with the Bears. We're going to do the Packers. Here we go. So their first pick was round 2. They got Brendan Sace from South Carolina, Chris McClellan, defensive tackle out of Missouri, Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State, nerd school, Yager Burke from Kentucky, and Dave. What happened with this last pick of theirs?
They traded up with the Seahawks to select kicker Trey Mack out of Florida.
Now, why would they do that? Did they have special teams issues last year, Dave? Is something happening? Why do they feel the need they have to have a kicker that bad?
They wanted competition, from what I gather. It was one of those head scratchers, because to me, you don't draft kickers, kicking specialists, kickers, punters, unless they're prodigal. And this kid does not look to be that. And I'd say you don't even draft him, because you can find him as a UDFA, or you can get him via trade or signing in free agency, because they are so up and down. But I think they were just worried about their kicker being down last year, and they wanted to give him some competition.
Pretty cool name, Trace Mack.
Yeah, it is.
Make a great linebacker name or safety.
That is a fantastic football name. Yeah. Good shout out, Foster. I love that name. Too
now,
bad.
Career long is only 56 yards.
Only.
And in this age where guys are hitting, 70, 56 seems a little weak
to be drafted. Yeah, and
he was 10 out of 13 from 50 plus.
I feel like we're doing a thing now. People are hitting 70s. Am I missing something?
No, they're hitting 70 or close to it. Yep. Pre-games, yeah. But LaFleur wanted competition for Brandon McManus.
Okay.
who missed key kicks last year in the playoffs.
Mm.
So it's sort of you missed kicks in our playoff loss, so we're gonna bring in some competition and make you sweat.
He did miss some kicks in that game when the season ended. Huh. I do recall that vaguely. The champagne is barely coming out of my eyes. Still, it's been about 150 days since they've called themselves a winner. So yeah, you're right, Dave. Good shout. Good shout. It has. I guess they can say, one of the reasons why their season ended on such a sour note, 5 straight losses, was because their kicking situation was so bad. I mean, that's not a bad shout, but I will say that once again, once you trade away so many first round picks, there's so much you can do. And if you end the season on a 5-game losing streak, the kicker, you can't be blaming kickers. But I'm not mad at them for trading up to get a kicker. I mean, that is what we all wanted the Packers to do. Go draft a kicker. Make our jobs easy. You had any other things that stuck out from you from this draft there, fellas? On the Green Bay Packers?
Oh, they got
Jaegers.
I'll go ahead, Foster. I was just going to say Jägermeister.
Yeah, I like Jaeger as a good name for a center. And outside of that, I mean, I think we went into the draft knowing that they had needs at cornerback and the defensive line. So, I mean, they did the best with what they had going on. There weren't any fireworks. They didn't have any first round picks. So it's kind of tough to destroy the draft when you don't even have a first round pick. So, yeah.
What you had, Dave?
No, I was going to say the same thing. You have Jägermeister, as I call him, Meister as a nickname. Burton, center guard replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how he develops. He's a 5th round pick.
Yeah,
you're talking about a developmental lineman when you get that low, and then they got edge Danny Dennis Sutton. That's a sweet name for an edge. We'll see how that goes. He was a 4th rounder. They didn't get anybody to really push for who's going to start straight away. Chris McClellan.
I don't think they drafted any day one starters. That was my takeaway.
Maybe the cornerback from South Carolina. That's the only one.
It's up in the air for him. But I do like their picks as far as depth is concerned. I love the kicker, as we already talked about. Jaeger. Now, I'm not gonna blow any smoke up no one's kilt. I'm not grinding tape on Saturdays. You know what I'm saying? I'm not watching all these games. I don't know a good 75% of these players. Never heard of them until it was time to actually do some homework on this stuff. But Jaeger, Burton, everything that I've read, everything I've seen on him, I agree, Dave Foster. Developmental guy. I love his name. But for a team that actually has, I would say, the most cohesive offensive line, as in the Green Bay Packers, he's going to be one of those guys who just come in and just, give a guy a spell, give a guy a blow every now and then. Might put some pressure on somebody that's trying to ask for too much money. We've seen that in the past from the Packers. When somebody's asking for too much money along that line, hey, see you later. We got somebody right now for you can take your spot. So I see the game they're playing. It's a heady play on their part from them. As far as anybody else, DDS, like you said, Dave, Danny Dennis Sutton from Penn State, nerd school. I think he might actually be the one that makes an impact rookie year, not as a starter. I think he'll make some flash plays from time to time because that's what he did mostly at PSU. I think just a natural ability coming from him, especially coming off that edge. Where you do see a lot of rotations going in, I think he'll be the one that might pop off the screen for most part. Let's move on to the Detroit Lions. So you guys had the first pick of the NFC North. So Foster, tell us about how that went. Run us down everything that happened for the Detroit Lions draft?
So I think it was a solid draft. I think we covered a lot of bases. I don't think we had too many home run picks, but a couple interesting and eye-opening selections. First one being Blake Moore, who we saw Proctor go off the board very early, number 12 to the Dolphins. They're actually going to move him to guard, which is interesting in itself. But we know the Lions were heavily interested in him. So that left us with having to go in a little bit of a different direction. Now, Blake Moore is somebody that there was the guy from Arizona State that was out there. And there was also Freeling. Freeling was also out there. But we chose to go with Miller, who was a lot more experienced. He had 54 starts at Clemson. I think he's more of a plug-and-play guy, high floor guy. He played right tackle, so that means that Sewell will likely move over to left. And his forte is pass protection, which was important for us because we were the second worst in pass block win rate. So he's a guy that can come in and play immediately and make an impact. The next one was the one of two University of Michigan draft picks. We finally got our edge. And Derek Moore is a guy that Brad Holmes said that, he feels that he can set the edge. He can play inside, outside. He can spell his former Michigan comrade, Aiden Hutchinson. And, he didn't really have a lot of impactful seasons up until this past season when he led the team with 10 sacks. And he showed up in those big games, the Ohio State game, and a lot of those interdivisional games. He stepped up, interconference games. He stepped up and made a big impact. But it sounds like Brad Holmes has had his eyes on him for the last couple years, and he stepped up and impressed enough for us to trade up for him. In fact, because we traded away our other fourth round pick. So next was Jimmy Rolder, which was another Michigan guy. Now this guy was projected to go a little bit later on, but he was a top 30. He did have a top 30 meeting with us. So obviously he showed us something. Now he doesn't have as much experience. He didn't start until this past year, but he did lead Michigan in tackles this past year with 70, and has championship experience. Him and Derek Moore both do. So he's
you brought up Rolder last week.
You said what?
You brought up Rolder. You guys both brought up Rolder last week.
Did I?
As a possible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was interested in Mr. Rolder from Michigan as a sneaky valuable pick. Yeah. So when I seen his name come off the board, and sidebar, call me Pay Vrabel. I was not around for round 3. I mean, for day 3 of the draft, I was outside. But when I did see the name go across the phone for Rolder to the Detroit Lions, I was like, there they go. There go Brad Holmes watching our show again, stealing off my notes. I was like, yeah, Dave, good shout. What else you got, Faust?
Yeah, so he's likely to be the predecessor to Alex Anzalone down the road as a weak side linebacker. There definitely was questions about his speed, but Brad Holmes really liked his anticipation and his instincts at linebacker. Keith Abney, probably one of my more favorite picks, gives us versatility on the inside and outside as far as the cornerback position. Very physical guy. He started for Arizona State for 2 years and had like 20 pass breakups. Another interesting one was our 5th round pick, Kendrick Law, who's an explosive wide receiver. So he joins a group with St. Brown and Tesla. And he's got some special team abilities, which Brad Holmes is really excited about. So they kind of threw out the name as Khalif, like a Khalif Raymond replacement, because he can't.
That's Chuckle Bear.
Yeah, he is now. So yeah, he was a former transfer from Alabama, and a lot of yak yards to speak on. Not a lot of touchdowns. I think he had like 2 touchdowns, but about 500 yards, and a vast majority of them were after the catch. And then the last 2 picks were defensive linemen, Skylar Gill Howard, who finished at Texas Tech, but he kind of bounced around. He started at Northern Iowa and walked on at Northern Illinois. He started as a linebacker, put on some weight, became a defensive tackle. And then part of the reason why his stock dropped so low is because he missed the whole second half of the season with an ankle injury. But he did have a pick 6 at the defensive tackle position. So that was pretty impressive. And then the final guy was Tyree West out of Tennessee. This is a guy that I brought up a couple different times as far as the top 30 workout or the top 30 meeting that we held. He didn't get a lot of playing time at Tennessee. He was kind of more of a rotational guy, but he is an edge rusher that impressed at the Senior Bowl. So I think that's where he really jumped out to us, was at the Senior Bowl.
Give me your favorite draft pick and somebody who you think the Detroit Lions snuck up on. Who you think there's the steal of the draft was for the Detroit Lions, as well as your favorite.
My favorite pick would have to be Derek Moore, just because it's the edge rusher that we've all been asking for. It's an interstate guy. He's got the championship pedigree, and he's got the accolades and statistics to back it up. He had 10 sacks at Michigan in a very competitive conference. So although he is a Michigan guy, and I really shouldn't be saying that, I'll stand by that. Hopefully it makes me look good. As far as the sneaky pick, I would say is Keith Abney. Around that time, I was saying that, it's time to draft another cornerback. It was, later on in the draft. Obviously, nobody that we need to start right away, but you can never have enough of those guys. And with the question marks of Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rekistraw, who has yet to play more than a couple snaps with us because he's had all these lingering injuries. I like that we went out and got a guy that was physical, plays the run, and can provide us some help on the inside and outside, because we don't have a lot of long-term options at cornerback. A lot of 1-year deal type guys outside of DJ Reed, who missed time himself last year. So Keith Abney out of Arizona State.
No concerns with Abney's size. Yeah, as you say he's physical. He plays the run, plays the pass pro. But the NFL is a different beast, and you know more than anyone. Detroit and injuries go hand in hand right now. They're like peanut butter and jelly. So no concerns there.
He's 6 foot 190. I mean, we hit our nickelback last year was Amik Robertson, and he was 5'9", 185. So and I will say that there are some varying, because I feel like when we were covering it, there were some varying heights, everywhere from 5'10" to 6 foot. So for all we know, he is 5'9". But Tim did have some positive words for Abney, and he was somebody that was on his board or somebody that he was interested in. So like I said last time, if it doesn't work out, Tim's fault.
Dave, what you think about the Detroit Lions draft?
I actually thought it was pretty good, and it mirrored their head coach's philosophy. They went aggressive. They went for players that are aggressive, and that's a good thing for the team, I believe. I actually liked their draft. It was pretty good. Better than Green Bay's.
It was definitely a couple guys that I feel like we some would say we reached for. Like, I mean, we traded up for Derek Moore. I felt like people thought that he might have been available as is. And then Rolder, you like Rolder, but and I will say, I think they said that Mel Kiper was pretty high on him, but I saw projections anywhere from 3rd to the 7th round from Rolder. So to go at it, that was our lone fourth round pick, because we traded one away to go get more. So you doubled up on Michigan. You possibly reached. Better be good.
You get the players you want, whether the consensus board says it's right or not, because the consensus board is just a bunch of some educated people and some yahoos that put together boards, and they get way too much into copy and pasting and stuff. Yeah. And so when somebody drops down the consensus board and then the team takes them, they think, oh my, what a reach. But it's how does that team value that player they picked? You guys obviously went up to grab one.
Yeah.
We stayed and grabbed one and caused all sorts of, oh my God, people, losing their minds over how could the team blow that? You could have had him in the 2nd round. And who I'm referring to is our number 1 draft pick, Caleb Banks.
Segue. I like how you did that, Dave.
Yes, Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. Now, people are crying that, oh, you could have had him in the 2nd round. Well, it turns out there were 2 teams that were interested in picking him in the 20s. One of them's GM was sort of crying about it at a press conference. That one of them happens to be Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. And as soon as we took him, I felt Pay cry a little bit over that one. And of course, Pay will tell you who they picked instead. It was the same person that got copied and pasted for Minnesota for months. But we got the big guy, 6'6", 327 pounds. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. He moves people, offensive linemen, like they're children.
Can he
grab on? And his only issues is his bends gets a little bit too high and gets stood up sometimes. But I do believe that Brian Flores, after losing Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, and they were a disappointment last year to shutting down the run, he wanted to build the defense he wanted, and Caleb Banks will be a focal point on that defense. Now, will he play nose tackle like he did his senior year in Florida? No, he will not. And he's only played 45 snaps out of his 900 and something at Florida at nose tackle. He's going to play the 4-eye 5 position, a traditional 3-4 defensive end. He can line up anywhere from the wide 9, however I doubt they do that, all the way to 0 tech if we need him to. And he is a disruptor. He's a gap shooter. And I think the Vikings taking him, and obviously it's Brian Flores. Brian Flores told Kevin O'Connell, take a break, go get a coffee. I got this. During a big chunk of this draft.
HNSE.
Mm-hmm. And he made the choice. I think it's a brilliant one. I'm happy with it. He was supposedly a reach. Dane Brugler had him up there at 24, I think, before the combine when he broke his foot again. And we had on a viewer called Skoldoc. He's a orthopedic surgeon specializing in the foot and ankle. Lives in the Chicagoland, believe it or not, Pay. And he does sports medicine and a lot of these surgeries. And he talked about his feet injuries because He's had multiple ones. And that was the big question mark on Caleb Banks was, yeah, but he broke his foot twice, 3 times. And he went in and he explained that one break was the Jones fracture. That's the one he took almost the whole year off of to heal. And this one was the 4th metatarsal. And it's a simple pin, and he'll be ready to go by June. And he should be fine. And they're not, neither of those injuries are degenerative. They're not going to come back. They heal well, and they go on fine for forever. Now, he's going to probably have orthotics in his cleats and all that stuff, which is fine. Good. But he's going to be, Brian Flores, I think, is going to use him in a way that Brian Flores has always wanted to use a defensive tackle. So I love the pick of Caleb Banks. That was pick number 1. Pick number 2 in the second round, we picked Jake Golday, linebacker out of Cincinnati. Now, Golday is a good-sized linebacker, all Big 12, well over 100 tackles, bunch for losses, all that sort of stuff, 3.5 sacks. He originally started out at Central Arkansas, but then NIL transferred to Cincinnati. He's a hybrid guy. He started out as an edge, and they moved him to inside linebacker. And what I see Flores doing is he's going to groom him to do some of the same things that Van Ginkel does.
Careful now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, careful.
And which I think is cool. But he's going to stay on the inside rather than the outside. And it's just going to be more positionless football stuff to confuse whatever offense we're going against. And just another guy Jordan Love's going to have to worry about getting in his face. Now, will Golday start day 1? I doubt it. Will Caleb Banks start day 1? I think most definitely. Golday will be basically the 3rd man in our linebacker rotation behind Wilson and Cashman. So we're going to see. I think I like what I see from him. But one of the best picks of the day came in round 3. We selected Dominique Big Citrus Orange, defensive lineman, nose tackle out of Iowa State. Big Citrus is flat out a nose tackle. 6'2", 322 pounds, built like a fire plug. And he's going to be a 2-gapper that eats up blocks, which is exactly what Brian Flores wants. And I can't wait to see him on the field. He feels dissed because it took to the 3rd round before somebody drafted him.
What was his original landing spot? Where was he expecting to be drafted?
He was 3 or 4, number 3 or 4 defensive lineman.
Okay, defensive lineman or interior lineman?
Interior. He's a flat out nose tackle.
Okay.
He's playing 0 and 1 technique.
But we talked about those consensus boards. You just throw them out the window.
Nope. But it is what it is. And then on the second pick in round 3, our compensatory pick for letting Darnold go.
Everybody gets comp picks but us. Go on, Dave.
We selected offensive tackle Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern.
Nerd school.
Nerd school. Yes, you got that right. He's 6'7.5", 323 pounds. buddy of mine, Drew Bunting, had him ranked as the 4th offensive tackle on his board. The only problem with Tiernan, he's got small arms and small hands for a tackle. But if you watch his play, he was the best pass blocker in college football last year. Now, it was at that nerd school.
Big Ten.
Yeah. But he out blocked most everybody. Now, when he gets to the Vikings, I think he's going to take Blake Brandel's traditional role of the 6th man off the bench. He can play both left and right tackle, has played it in college. He can move into guard, either side. And eventually they'll have him snapping the ball to see if he can get proficient at that as well. And he will back up, eventually become like I said, the Blake Brandel, the 6th man off the line. So if somebody gets hurt, say Darisaw hurts his knee again, God forbid, mark on wood, it never happens, he comes in. Or O'Neal, or Prize, anybody, he can come in and take their spot. And that's what I'm hoping he develops into. And I think it's a good chance he will. And also in round 3, due to the trade with the Philadelphia Eagles of Grenard, we selected safety Jacoby Thomas out of Miami. And people are saying, why didn't you take a safety in the first? You were forecast to take a safety in the first. You need a hitman replacement. Do we?
We talked about consensus draft. Maybe you don't. Maybe Harris is playing for 5 more years. Maybe you don't.
I know what I suspect, but it's all suspecting. I expect Hitman will be back, but it'll be a decision after June 1st. For financial reasons and just because he doesn't have to be here this summer. He can come in at the end of say, yeah, right for training camp, and he'll be ready. But that's just me. But if not, this Jacoby Thomas kid, I have not watched a ton of tape on him. I've seen some highlights. He looks good. Well, that ends day 2 picks. Our day 3 picks, we selected from the great state of Michigan, fullback, our CJ Ham replacement, Max Bredesen, emotional support friend for JJ McCarthy. Now, and JJ was at his house when he got called and selected, which was odd, but okay. Now, they're calling him a tight end. He's going to be an H-back. He's going to be like Jimmy Kleinsasser. My favorite player of the Vikings was. Now, is he as big as Jimmy? No, not quite. But he's not a small man. He runs, I think he's 235, something like that. He's built stout, and he loves to block. Absolutely loves to block.
JJ was at his house when he got drafted?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, put some respect on 9.
They're friends. So I can't wait. Will he start day 1? Well, fullbacks generally don't start per se, but he's going to be our fullback. Then round 5, we picked Charles Demings, cornerback out of Stephen F. Austin. Good kid. I hope he develops. High upside. Round 6, we traded up, and we got Damon Claiborne, running back out of Wake Forest. He's, 5'10", 220, but he's shifty. The guy can cut. He can break ankles. The problem is he goes down easy, theoretically. According to Tyler, my partner on Vikings First and Skull.
Tyler.
But I say, no, I can't wait because the dude can literally break defenders' ankles. He plants with his left foot and he's off to the right, 90 degrees, without missing a beat. He's going to be dynamic. And then round 7, we picked Gavin Gerhardt, center out of Cincinnati. And he's got an interesting story. His mother, I guess, is dying of something and has had tons and tons of hospital bills. And all he wanted to do was be drafted to help. And he got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. Now, is he going to compete for center right away? No, that's Blake Brandle's job now. You have Michael Juergens as our backup center. I think Gavin Gerhardt is going to compete with Juergens for center number 2 spot. But we will see how that goes. But I like our draft. It was defensive heavy. We needed 2. I was to say, that was the problem. That was the problem. We were 5th ranked defense last year. Defense was the problem. Stopping the run was the problem. And being able to unleash Brian Flores with guys he actually selects and wants, I think is going to be a nightmare for the rest of the division and for the rest of the league. And I really do like our draft. Did we cover all our needs? No. Did we grab a wide receiver 3? No. May we today? Possibly. We may turn that Grenard trade, which was just for 2/3, into the one this year and one next year, into Juwan Jennings at half the price. He's been in Minnesota since yesterday. He has not left yet. They're discussing a multiple year deal. Multiple year, I have no idea if that's 2, 3, 4, whatever. But I'm sure it's basically a prove-it deal, financially wise, and then goes on up from there. But if we sign Juwan Jennings, there's no doubt who has the best wide receiver trio in the league at that point. Hopefully, either one of our quarterbacks, the wee widow one, or J.J. McCarthy, can throw to him. The offensive line's healthy. It should be. I like what we did this year. Now we're only picked to be 500, same as last year. We'll see.
Now,
Kyler Murray's your quarterback.
you hate it. You got on the consensus case for it's just content. It's really just content. And the same thing goes for over-unders at this point. Everyone's, except for a certain handful of teams that everyone knows are the greatest or everyone knows is going to be ass, everybody's going to be in that 500 mark at this point because Vegas got to get their check. They're expecting somebody to tilt the scale somewhere so they can get their money. Mm-hmm. Anyway, all right. So wrapping up on the Vikings.
The Golday pick at linebacker.
That was your favorite, or that was your
second pick? He was the linebacker out of Cincinnati.
Right. I mean, that's what we were talking about.
That was his favorite.
That was your favorite. Okay. I got you.
I don't know if Tim watched him in college. Since he reports on the Cincinnati Bengals, he may have reported on the Cincinnati Bearcats as well.
He said that was his favorite pick too. So,
got it.
Oh, the wide receiver.
I think Goldie is a Jay Gold. I think he's going to fit well with the Minnesota Vikings. I like his fit as far as scheme wise. I'm not abreast of what's going on with Grenard. I've heard that that his contract situation is up in the air. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that one, Dave. But I do like the gold pick. All right, let's get to the moment everyone's been waiting on. Those Chicago Bears. Dave, Thursday night was pretty. I don't want to say anticlimactic, but it was interesting once Mr. Dylan Thieneman got past the purple guys, the Visigoths from Minnesota, and ended up in Chicago. I was watching it. I'm looking at him like, okay, so Akeem Mesidor is still on the board. Thieneman is still on the board, and one of the other targets we were looking at still on the board. I think it was like pick 21 around that way, and I'm like, we only get one of the three. I'm cool. I didn't really have a favorite going into this draft. I'm like, there's about a handful of guys I would be cool with, so I'm fine. But when Thieneman was the name called, I'm like, oh, this is a home run. Shout out to Tim Lyons, who asked the question in the chat earlier. He's like, do I think this is a home run? Yes, yes, Tim. This is a home run for the Bears. The Bears did not have a second safety on the roster going into the draft day. The Bears had only Kobe Bryant, who they snuck out of free agency from the Seattle Seahawks. Replacing Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard, who are fan favorites, never easy. Yeah, fan favorites are always hard to replace, but I feel like the Bears did great in replacing them. Now, I love Brisker, I love Byard, but they were. I think they was at their ceilings. You know what I mean? They was only so much you can do with them. And I think not to say that they're bad safeties or not to say that they're not good. I think they're very good. I'd say Kevin Byard led everybody in interceptions last year, right? But he also gave up a lot of touchdowns from a safety. He was one of those guys. Jaquan Brisker, I love the intensity he plays with. He had one of his best career games, his last game with the Bears. In fact, during his career with the Bears, he's won games for the Bears. I can count 3 right now off the top of my head where he was the best player on the field. But there's only so much you can do with those two in your defensive secondary. Kevin Byard's not an in-the-box safety, so if you bring him down pre-snap, you're not fooling anybody. Brisker, he was exposed quite often last year when we had so many injuries in the secondary, and we had to line people up one-on-one, and the slot wide receiver made him his B. It happened more times than I would like to admit. He's not the great in coverage. So if you bring him in the box, you know he's probably going to stay there. You know he's probably going to come home. You probably brush him. So it's the element of surprise with those two is what I'm saying wasn't naturally there. If you pay attention to the film, and I know all the guys in the NFL do, they grind tape. You already know what was going to happen from Dennis Allen's last year. In comes Kobe Bryant. In comes Dylan Thieneman. You got the versatility from those two guys that you don't know what's going to happen. Both of these guys can play in the box. Both of these guys can cover their ass off. Dylan Thieneman has a 4.28 40.
Yeah, he's fast.
Wow. Yeah, he had a 4.28 40. That is elite speed. Now,
for safety, oh heck yes.
For anybody really, but yeah.
I cannot wait to see these guys cover. That just makes our defense so much better. That's the element of being able to dig deeper in your bag as far as your play calls. And we all know Dennis Allen loves to send the house because we can't really get home with 4 too much. And that was the question for most Bears fans. Like, all right, so we're going to address this issue with our edge and our ability to get home with our down linemen, our edges, and our interior guys. Maybe it wasn't going to happen in the first round, which is fine. Dylan Thieneman fell in our laps, no did he? So we're going to go ahead and go with that. That's a great pick, A+ for me. Friday should be different, right? You would assume Friday will be a little different. So Did that happen for Bears fans? No, it didn't. No, it didn't. The Bears actually went and got Logan Jones, top of the second round. Not top of the second round, but their first second round pick. I'm sorry, they only had one second round pick, but Logan Jones was their first Friday pick. Center out of Iowa. Now, Iowa, we know how Iowa guys get down, rough and rumble. Logan Jones is a 4-year starter. Everything that I hear about him, he's incredibly smart, which you would like from your center. You want your center to be the smartest guy across that line, not calling anybody else dummies, because we know Ryan Poles loves drafting nerds. Ryan Poles is from a nerd school. He loves drafting guys from nerd school. He's the only guy in the NFL I think drafts, scouts Harvard, because I don't know what Ryan Poles on that point. But Logan Jones, everything I hear about him,
Harvard can produce some good centers.
Dave, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off, Dave. Everything I hear about Logan, he's smart, he's athletic, he's a great for the Bears as far as their zone run scheme. I've heard people, and this is not me, I've heard people liken him to a poor man's Jason Kelce. Not my words, but Jason Kelce, he is all on TV, he's laying on the bear rug, but if you don't know, Jason Kelce is going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. I'm not. I will hope that Logan Jones emulates that part of Jason Kelce, not the podcaster, the outside of football Jason Kelce. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but
he's there to embarrass his brother's girlfriend.
I think they got that on. I think they got that down pat.
Do you know that Logan Jones was the Remington Award winner last year?
I did hear that as well. Best center
in college football.
Yeah, I feel like that's now. If I gave out a grade for Dylan Tillman, I gave that was an A. I think this was a solid pick as well. I'm gonna say solid is a B, high B, 89, trending on an A. I do think Logan Jones is probably a second day one starter the Bears got out of this draft. Because I don't.
You think he beats Bradbury, who was also a Remington Award winner? But
hey, they're going into camp battling, Dave. I don't know who's going to win the job, but that job is up for grabs. And Logan Jones was the number one center in the draft. Now that doesn't mean he's going to be all pro or anything like that. But in this draft of centers available, he was rated as the best. And the Bears
good size. He's 6'2", which is it's not tall, but it's not short. And he's 299 pounds.
No, but he can get up. He can get underneath pads and make some things happen.
He's great for the zone scheme, which you guys run.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a great pick. I won't give it I won't go that far, but I do think the Bears came out of this draft with 2 day one starters. And if you can say that you can also not say that you had a bad draft. Segue to the Bears' third pick of the draft. Now, this one scratched a lot of people's heads, and it scratched mine too. The Bears drafted tight end Sam Roush from, say it with me,
nerd school,
Stanford University.
Another nerd school.
When that happened, I'm not going to BS you. I said, what the French toast? I don't understand what's going on.
Who's your head coach?
Ben Johnson. So
what does Ben Johnson like to draft? I always
loves these tight ends.
In June a hard time about it.
He loves these tight ends. Now it did take me some time to just get over that fact. And I knew this coming in. I think Ben Johnson goes best player available. He doesn't care what the needs are. He's going to go, well, you know what? This guy's the best player out there. Snatch him up. Great. And to be honest with you, it's probably the right call. All the edge rushers and, run stoppers that was left on the board at that point, it probably wouldn't be, as we've been talking about, day one starters. They probably can't beat out the guys that we already have on the roster. And the guys on the roster, I'm gonna stay with that point for a second. Ryan Poles has addressed the issue of the inability to get to the quarterback from the edge, the inability to stop the run from the inside. He's addressed it. He's thrown a lot of money at those guys in the front. It's about time those guys show up. It's about time those guys earn their checks. Stop getting hurt. I'm sorry. I know some of that is not your fault. You don't show up to work wanting to get hurt. But the guys got to be on the field. The guys got to actually show up and prove. Deo Abidango, Grady Jarrett, and some of the rest of them. Montez Sweat, he had 10 sacks last year, but I think he's getting paid to do more than just get 10 sacks. Those guys got to show and prove. I appreciate our general manager and the guys calling the shots. You don't throw bad money, after good. You know what I'm saying? You don't try to make a problem worse by throwing more money, throwing bad money in it. And that's exactly how you mess up. You cut guys early, you have a cap issue down the line. You try to, you draft guys, you overdraft guys when, you just let things fall into place. I appreciate going to get this tight end. Maybe Ben is ahead of the curve. Maybe there's about to be a revolution in the NFL where 13 personnel is the new wave. Maybe that's it. Now the Bears, the Bears are not the LA Rams. They didn't run 13 the most in the league last year, but the Bears were top 5 in that formation. Dylan, what's his name? Dustin Smythe for the Bears. He caught some passes. He was out there a lot. Now, and speaking to that, I think a lot of that had to do with our musical chairs with the left tackle. And Ozzie Trapillo, he probably won't play this year. Our I guess our number 1 left tackle. He probably won't play. We got Braxton Jones back, who we've been trying to get rid of for years.
I don't know what's wrong with Trapillo.
Yeah, Patella.
Patella?
Yeah, no. I'm blanking on
Achilles?
No. It's his knee, but I'm blanking on the exact issue. I want to say Patella for some reason, but in any case, he's not playing this year. It's a wrap for him. So we might be having to stack up guys over on the left side. So this is a perfect draft. Let me take that back. I'm not gonna say perfect, but I understand. For most of the people that are mad at the Bears or a little confused at why they didn't address an actual need, they actually did. We needed centers, we needed a safety, and we needed guys to help out on the left side of that offensive formation. And we need more guys can catch passes. That's the one thing I have against Sam Roush. You all talked about short arms, right? I think both of you all talked about short arm guys he drafted. Sam Roush has very short arms for somebody his size. He's 6'6", I believe, and he has arms that a 6'1" person will have, is what I've heard. That's why if you look at his tape, he has a lot of drops, short arms. So, but he can block. He's a willing blocker. He's going to earn his check this year. He is going to be on the field. So if you can draft your first 3 draft picks, if you draft guys who are going to be on the field the first year, like the Bears did last year with a tremendous draft, I got no qualms. I have nothing to say about that. I think the Bears did an excellent job. Just to shore up the rest of this draft real fast before we get to our break, the Bears did come out of after the Sam Roush, they did draft wide receiver Xavier Thomas from LSU. They drafted another corner out of Texas, Malik Muhammad. Round 5, they got Keyshawn Elliott, linebacker from Arizona State, go Sun Devils. And to end the draft, they got the South African rugby player himself, Jordan Vanderberg from GT. Say it with me.
Nerd school.
Oh, yeah. A big nerd school. They right down the block.
Yeah, you know.
They right down the block. Big nerds. As far as this draft, I'm gonna take the easy route. My favorite pick, and the pick that I think that we stole, was on Thursday. Dylan Thinamish had no business at 25. I am ecstatic with that pick. My favorite, and I think it's the one that
I'm
they
glad
stole.
we didn't select him.
You didn't want him because you want Hitman back. That's all it is. That's all it is, Dave.
No, but I a lot of these drafts were considered fit drafts.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons people quote, they reached. Well, they're drafting for fit. And I didn't think Thieneman was the fit. Do I think Caleb Banks is going to be the fit? Yes.
I think Banks has a great fit for the. But you're right. I think with a draft like this, where you don't have all those blue chippers, I think the actual number of guys that actually had first round grades stopped around pick 9.
Right.
So I think everyone at that point, got to feel content, got to get those clicks up, right? They started just plugging people into where they fit best at. This team has a need, Dave. You're replacing a legend in Hunt and Harrison, so go ahead and put those replace him with Dylan Thieneman, who's second best safety on the board. So makes sense to me. We're gonna go ahead and take a break real fast. If you're watching live, you know what to do. If you're not watching live, you checking out on audio. Our ad partners have a word for you.
Need a Garrett's popcorn break.
Now the fun time. Voss, who do you think had the best draft in the NFC North? Good question.
I mean,
think about it for a second. I think this is an easier one. Who do you think had the worst?
The Packers for sure had the worst. That's
no first round picks. I don't think they have any immediate starters. I think they got some decent rotational players. I agree with you. Number 4 easily. Best. While I filibuster a second so you can think about it for a second. I'm calling the Bears.
Oh,
I'm calling the Bears. Not much of a surprise, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I think the Bears got 2 immediate starters because I do foresee Logan getting that job out of Garrett Bradbury, and I can see some other things shaking out where Sam Roush is on the field a lot, and Mr. Muhammad out of Texas being on the field a lot because Tyreek Stevenson, he's going to be in the battle for the number 2 cornerback's job as well. So after they get Muhammad into the weight room, put some weight on him, he might be a starter. And the Bears might mess around and have 4 new starters out of this draft. It can happen.
Starter at corner, Muhammad, you talking about?
Yeah, he could. He could mess around and have it. That's right, Tim. That's right. Tim Lyons with the comment. Bias. He put that in all capitals. You are correct. You are very much correct. You also asking his commit on the trade block. I doubt it.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is he still there?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's been some rumors that Cole Kmet might be on a trade block, but I don't think they replace him with Sam Roush. Not to that point. I think Sam Roush, the future, the immediate future for him is a blocker.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, go ahead, Foss.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you definitely talk. The more you talked about your draft picks, the better they did sound. I was obviously familiar with Thieneman, and I think you guys hit a home run with that. I had to be more versed on the center you got to be, more impressed with your draft. But obviously, I've done the most extensive research about my own, so I'm partial. As far as Dave's draft, I was definitely familiar with Banks, but yeah, I think when you talk about how many starters did you leave with, I think we definitely left with at least 2 starters of our own. Blake Miller for sure, and then. Yeah, I think Derek Moore will definitely be in the mix at that opposite edge position. But yeah, overall, I'm not going to act like we got an A+ draft, but I think that we covered a lot of bases and got the guys that we wanted. So I think it's up for debate, but I think that the Lions draft was very, very solid from top to bottom.
All right, so it sounds like he went around the block just to say the Lions had the best draft in the division. Dave,
I didn't hear that.
That's what I heard. Because that was the question I asked. So that's what I heard.
Well, I think we've definitely got at least 2 first-round starters, game 1 starters. and Banks and Citrus, big Citrus.
Oh, Citrus, huh? Okay. All right.
Yeah. The defensive line is going to go from left to right. Dallas Turner, Caleb Banks, Big Citrus, Jalen Redmond, and Van Ginkel.
So it sounds like you're saying you think the Vikings came away the best draft in his division.
I don't know about the best, but we had a decent one.
Who had the best?
Definitely isn't the Packers. I'm not going to concede it to you either. Yours was strange as well.
Well,
you got
you know who our coach is.
Yeah, I know. That's just it. I do like Thieneman for you, by the way, even though I didn't want him. It's just some of yours was like, when you got Logan Jones, who I think is going to be a good center, but you had just signed Garrett Bradbury.
That makes no difference.
They're close. Hopefully, Jones will be better than Bradbury because Bradbury for us ended up being a disappointment. The tight end, when you're talking Sam Roush, tight ends take time to develop, 3 or 4 or 5 years to develop.
Don't need to develop, learn how to block. That's what you're going to do. Go out there and block, son.
And that's why the old saying, you draft a tight end for their next team, unless you get the weird prodigal son, like we were hoping for.
Colson Loveland?
No, the kid from Oregon.
Oh, Sadiq.
Yeah, Sadiq. But he was taken ahead of us, and we were supposedly interested in Sadiq. But he was taken ahead of us. So, but overall,
Ben Johnson has developed 2 pretty good ones, though. Well, I don't know how much he was around for Hawkinson, but Laporta for sure.
Yeah,
and Loveland.
Well, all right.
And I'll give you that.
While you guys drafting your tight end pay, he's going to pull a Hawkinson, and he's going to trade away one of your tight ends for a few more picks.
Could happen. Don't think it's going to happen this soon, but possibly.
When you get the 2027 draft is so good. Hey, we got anything to trade? Yeah, let's trade a tight end.
Yeah. That's what I want to hear. Later, though. Later.
For 2027.
Right. So for 2026, as of right now, rapid reaction, the best draft in the division was.
I got to go with the Vikings.
All right. That's what I want. That's what I wanted to hear. And we can do an hour where we disagree. You take your side, Paul takes his, I take mine. That's fine. But we all agree Packers in the last.
Yes, without a doubt.
Stand united on that.
When you go in with 7 picks, one of them is not even a first rounder, and you trade up one of those picks to get a kicker. Something's wrong. Yeah. LaFleur's on a short leash. Gotta be.
Everybody talks about that 27 draft, and they don't even have a first round pick in that draft.
Too bad.
Things you love to hear. Foster, you can catch Foster. Yeah, I know. You can catch Dave on X at Vikings First and Skull. Dave, where can they catch you on YouTube and elsewhere?
Vikings First and Skull. It's real simple. That's where we reside, on YouTube, on X, on podcasts, your favorite aggregator. Doesn't matter which one. iTunes, Spotify. We're all in all of them.
Good. I know you all are going to be beating the content down for this draft until
as
long as you
did over 22 hours of live broadcast last week.
Yeah, I caught some of it. It's good stuff. Tyler, I check it. I check it out. It's good stuff. So go ahead and check out Vikings First and Skull. Everything they got going over there. The next big day as far as football content is concerned is next month. Schedule drop. Can't wait. Foster. You can catch him on IG and elsewhere. B4 Foster. Child, what you all got coming up at the Bleachers of Speakers, and you got a lot of podcasts, but you just tell people where they can, what you got, where it's at.
Well, yeah, you can catch us at Bleachers to Speakers. We got Piston coverage. We do a Central Division show every Monday. We do Tigers coverage on Sundays, and then you can catch us here for NFC North coverage for the Detroit Lions on every Wednesday. So plenty of sports.
Plenty of sports. Yeah.
Hopefully the Pistons can get it together. Otherwise,
Come on, false. We don't have time for that, false. Come on.
We're rooting for the Timberwolves to hopefully win the series, even though they have major injuries.
Yes, you do.
And the Wild.
Good thing for the Timberwolves. They're not being coached by Doc Rivers. Well, Glenn Rivers. They're not going to blow that 3-1 lead. 23 years ago, Orlando Magic had a 3-1 lead on the Pistons.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. You know who the coach was of the Magic that time?
It was Glenn.
Unfortunately, he ain't the coach now. It's a wrap for those Pistons. It's a wrap.
Hey,
Now you talk about big football stuff coming up. We got the schedule release here in a couple weeks, 2.5 weeks or so.
I think it's May 11th, right? Oh no, it's May that week after Mother's Day.
Well, you may not. The Vikings have big news. Whether we get a wide receiver 3, which I'm hoping for, but we're doing a GM search. It started today.
Just pick somebody. What's going on?
No, they got to go through all the process. Now, we did find out today that Rob Brzezinski does have interest in getting the job now, which is fine. It'll take him up to retirement. He'll make multi-millions if he's selected. But as he's always said during this entire draft process, now's not the time. Not talking about it. Not interested right now. Why? Because there's the Rooney Rule, and you can't tamper or you can't violate the Rooney Rule without interviewing the associate or appropriate interviewees.
I want my comp pick. Catch me at,
and you should have 2 comp picks.
Yeah, I want them both.
Now it would be great if we signed your guy from Atlanta and got the 2 comp picks.
You know what, Dave? Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off, Dave. I'm gonna show up in New York and get it back in blood. They don't give me them picks. Catch me on Threads, 7day _ weekends, and also at Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. We are at your favorite aggregators as well, just like Dave said. Anyway, you get podcasts, you can see us there or hear us there, but we have everything for your viewing pleasure over on YouTube. Dave, what do you Visigoths Vikings say?
We say Skull Vikings. Oops, wrong button.
That's the wrong button. False.
OP.
Oh, what? That's what it is. Thanks for joining, everybody. Catch you next week.
The Bears.
Appreciate you tapping into this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you was watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with everybody on the block, and hit the notification bell so you never miss none of our daily drops. And to all the guys from the Shy, we say 3 things. Bear down, fly the W, and sell the team, Jerry.
If they win a title, we shut down the store. Yeah, we yelling at the street.